Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Speaking, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering of my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks. Sampler platter video, a series of videos I've been doing for a little while now, where I go over there, I try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then I talk about the stuff, folks. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna do it whether you watch or not. So, maybe go over there and throw me a watch. I mean, to be fair, if you're not aware of me, if YouTube doesn't, if I'm not in the algorithm. I mean, I've been getting more views than I was. I'm averaging double digits now, so we're moving on up, folks. It's like the Jeffersons. Do people remember the Jeffersons? Like Nick at Night had it for a while. It was with Jeff. Boom! I'm gonna try some Nori Seaweed style Lays. While I'm doing so, there's a beer can Thunderbolt poster. There's a crappy old ladder off to the side. Wearing a cool bracelet from my friend China McCoy. He's a martial artist, stuntman, actor, comic book creator, all types of cool stuff. If you happen to be interested, it looks neat to you as I'm waving my hands around and shit, let me know. I'll go over there and hook you up. I believe he still makes them to order. So I'm also wearing a cool Wild Arms 2 t-shirt. Wild Arms 2 t-shirt. Yes. I love that we live in a time in the world where we can go, like, if you're just into something, you can just go over there and be like, go onto Google and just be like, shirt. 9 times out of 10. 8 times out of 10. You're going to find something. Wild Arms 2 shirt. Anyway, like I was saying, Nori Seaweed style Lay's potato chips. I believe the other ones that I've done recently in this little batch have mostly been from International Food Market that I go to every now and again to basically pick up weird stuff to try. I think I got these at Rocket Fizz, if I remember correctly. Rocket Fizz, they're a candy and soda shop, and they also have like just assorted snacks and stuff like that. And they usually have like one little table that's dedicated to, like international stuff. I think that's where I got these. So, I think these... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so they're from Lay's. They're Nori Seaweed, which typically, as is my understanding, is a Japanese thing, right? Well, sushi and things. You can see the sushi, and then you got the thing. But, although I can't read it, I can typically recognize the Thai language from Thailand just on sight, because I watch a lot of like martial arts movies and international stuff and everything. So I believe that this is Thai. And it says Lay's Thailand, so there we go. So that's interesting. I didn't realize that there would be enough of a market for Nori Seaweed flavored stuff in Thailand. But then, to be fair, I've never been to Thailand. I actually would like to go. I wanted, back when I was in my 20s, and I, still had hopes and dreams and aspirations, beyond doing this, obviously. That was the thing I really wanted to do. I wanted to do like a little tour of Asia. But then I remembered I'm poor. The people who raised me were not spectacularly wealthy, though to be fair, I wouldn't go as far as to call them poor, but middle class. Very wonderful people. Love both my mom and my dad. And so that just didn't happen because I didn't have any follow through. So let's try some potato chips instead of me being depressed about my... Not childhood exactly. I mean, there's things to be depressed about in my childhood. But there are good things, too. Let's eat some damn potato chips. Well, they have a strong smell. I'm happy about that. And as I like to point out, though it's not as egregious with this particular bag. Some bags are worse than others. Bag. Actual amount of chips. Paying for air, folks. Paying for air. But, they look like they're actually, well seasoned. There's bits in there. So, let's give it a go. I would think it wouldn't be too, difficult to go over there and season them with what the hell ever, because, it's seaweed. It's already a thing. Yeah, okay. Wow, that actually works. So, it can be kind of difficult to describe. Like, the best way I'd be able to describe it would be like, have you ever had sushi? Preferably, like, actual sushi. Every now and again, I'll go over and I'll get, like, the supermarket sushi. Because I hate myself, I guess. Might as well just roll the dice with my intestinal health. Not entirely joking on that. I had a bad experience one time with some supermarket sushi. But I don't learn from things, folks. That's why I do this show. But yeah, if you've ever had sushi, it is a pretty damn similar flavor to, like, basically like the, you know, because like you get like this, like what would the outside roll of the sushi, you know, you've got like the seaweed aspect of it. Not only binds it together, gives it texture, but it has its own flavor. This is very similar to that. And it's a difficult flavor to describe. Like, you kind of have to know it. Because it's a little bit earthy, a little bit, it has a little bit of sort of a taste of the ocean, and there's kind of like a mild sweetness to it. Like, I wouldn't say it's sweet per se, but the way it's presented, there's something in it that's not quite the taste of the sea, not quite the earthiness, that's sort of somewhere in the middle. And it has like almost at least to me, sort of like a very mild sweetness. But yeah. I mean, I guess for all intents and purposes, obviously I wasn't there when they made it, but I would imagine in order to go there and season these, all you'd have to do is get some sushi seaweed, grind that shit up, toss it on with some other stuff, and it works really well. These are actually really good. They do two things I like. Number one, they're flavorful. Number two, they're flavored like the thing they're supposed to be flavored. I did, in this batch of videos, I did some chips that were supposed to be steak flavored. I didn't say particularly steaky to me. These, even if you didn't tell me what they were, I don't know if I'd get it immediately, because it's a very unique flavor, but it's also not something like, I mean, I eat sushi occasionally, so it's not a go-to flavor profile in my head, but I think that I think I could probably get it eventually, or at the very least, if you did tell me, like, it's not something where you have to explain it to me. My brain is already trying to work it out because it knows that flavor. So, yeah, I'm down with them. I really am. I like these. They start out almost like a little bit like sour cream and onion chips. But then they never reach quite that level of flavor. But they sort of reach this like crescendo point, and it really tastes like the seaweed you get on the outside of sushi. I'm really down with these. I like these a lot. I think Lay's Thailand did a fine job with these. Again, I'm surprised they're not from Japan, but do whatever works for you. Now, that said, would I recommend them? That's tougher to say. Because ultimately, first of all, there's just a lot. Sadly, there's still a lot of people here in America, less and less so, but there's certainly still people who they just have an aversion to sushi. You know, just the idea of it, what have you. I have some family members. They're just not. They won't, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not being hypercritical of anybody. Eat what you want to eat. Work with whatever you want to work with. If sushi doesn't seem appetizing to you, or if you've had a bad experience with it, that's your thing. But thankfully, I think we're slowly starting to kind of leave that notion behind. I like these. I think that if you're somebody who enjoys sushi, these might be a fun little treat. They're not going to blow you away or anything like that, but I think you would be surprised at how well the flavor is actually recreated and how well it works in chip format. But, now all that said, outside of that, if you're somebody who's not, they might still be interesting to you because ultimately I think the flavor is still pretty reasonable. It's not like odd for the sake of odd, but it definitely is a unique flavor, and it's definitely something that not everybody's going to go for. So that's the thing. They fall into this category where it's like they're almost novelty, but then also not. So, and it was a similar thing with the ones I did just before this, the roasted fish flavor ones. And I had a similar experience with that, where like I enjoyed the flavor, I enjoyed what they were doing, but it would be difficult for me to recommend them to people just like on the overall. But to the right people, I think that these would work really well. So, like I said, overall, I enjoy them. If you happen to run into a bag, whether it's at Rocket Fizz or International Fresh Market or where the hell ever, I do think they're good. I wouldn't, go over there and slaughter a family of 4 to go over there and get my hands on them. But, maybe 2 people. I'm not about, it depends on it, This is a weird analogy. We're gonna abort it. We're just gonna get the hell out. Ooh. The times we live in that particular word at the moment. We're dodging this, folks. We're dodging this. That's not what this show is about. My own feelings in regards to things. I'm just talking about why did this go so weird. Anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. No. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. If you could go there and have yourselves a truly sushi-tastic rest of your life, folks, whether it's the California roll or maybe spicy tuna roll or those are like there's ones with eel on it, which I actually really like, but I don't know the name of, and obviously I don't know like the proper names of them. But go out and sushi's good. Try some sushi if you haven't. Don't be afraid of it. Unless it's from a supermarket. And actually, it's probably fine. Final 2 things for me, folks. Number 1, try to bring some positivity to the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what do you do if you can't do it all the time? I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you do, folks. You try not to be an asshole. Okay? You're not always going to succeed. That's just not going to happen, folks. Sometimes you're going to be going over there and you're going to be trying to come up with a funny analogy, and then it ends up leading to a murder scene investigation. Then they kick down my door because it turns out that some guy went over there and murdered some family of 4. Remember, 4 is the number. I'm not going above or below it. To go over there and get some, some sushi flavored, nori seaweed flavored Lays. I mean, I'm like the only guy on the internet or anywhere who's probably ever uttered that phrase. I'm going straight to jail, folks. Okay? But I'm going to try not to be an asshole about it. I'm going to try to just have a good old time with everything. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go and do. Maybe you're going to go over there, folks. And maybe this will go over there and inspire you to go out and try some sushi of your own. And you'll love it so much, and you'll decide that you're going to go over there and become a professional sushi chef. And you'll train for years. You'll even go over there and, I can't think of the proper name for it, but you'll go over there, you'll learn how to go over there and do the pufferfish sushi. Sorry. Slurring my words a little bit. I'm full of salts and sugars and things. Fugi, or is it Fugo? I think it's Fugo. You'll go over there, you'll learn how to make that. You'll be like a top Fugo chef, and it'll be a whole thing, and you won't kill anybody with it. I actually watched a thing on that too, and it's like, well, it's because it's like, especially if you're from my age, you might remember the episode of The Simpsons where they dealt with that particular subject. And it's like, I watched an actual sushi chef talk about it, and he's like, yeah, no, like the stuff that we use is like, not only are you like extremely well trained, like you have to go through so much training before they'll let you make that for people. But like on top of that, there's just the fact that it's like, pufferfish get their venom from like the things that they eat. So if you raise them in a non, venomous thing that they eat environment, it's perfectly fine. Anyway. Or you could go over there and do something else entirely that's like way easier. Like go over there and make some popcorn. Go over there and watch a good movie. Bye.